So I'm very excited to ask you questions about Goosebumps season two. First off, what can we kind of expect?
Oh my gosh, so much. You can expect monsters, ooze, mystery. There's a lot of time jumps that are really interesting. We have some 90s people that are coming in and shaking things up. And for me personally, you can expect the haunted car, which is my favorite.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Speaking of 90s, I grew up with the books and the original series and stuff, so
Oh,
mentioning that excites me so much. Were you a fan of Goosebumps before joining the project?
yeah, I was. Yeah, I grew up reading the books. I was definitely a little library nerd, and I was always in the corner of the library, usually in the dark, usually with the Goosebumps book. So it made me a big horror fan growing up. So I'm a huge nerd now. It's great.
I love that. Something about the Goosebumps books, you just had to read them in the dark.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Um, so other than bringing some 90s elements back, what do you think are some things that like us OGs will be excited for that also this new generation that's first getting introduced to Goosebumps will enjoy?
I would say just how seriously the showrunners take the monsters aspect, because that was something that for me, reading the books, it was very scary. They weren't like they were for kids, but the monsters were very real, and I think the characters were also very real. And that respect has been paid to the TV show and Rob Letterman and Hillary Winston. They took these characters from real life. They're going through real struggles. My character's an ex-con and she's queer and she's going through like these weird coming of age moments, 16 and dealing with all that. And then also these terrifying monsters. And I think that's something that Goosebumps as a franchise has always been so good at tapping into like real fear and real emotion.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Um, Kind of keeping along that note, why do you think this franchise has lasted so long and all of these generations love it?
That's a good question. I mean, I think horror in general is such an interesting genre because you can get so much deeper with emotion, whereas like, in a drama, in a family like comedy, a buddy cop movie, you're not gonna get like raw emotion. You're gonna get things that are kind of like plasticized for the genre. And I think with horror, there's like no hold bar, no bar, the phrase anyway. No holds barred, that's what it is. And yeah, I think it's really beautiful that Disney decided to take on this challenge because I think it's totally new for, a mostly family-oriented network to take on this show that shows things that are very raw and gritty and scary. So I really enjoyed that challenge.
Now, you mentioned this a little bit, but your character's name is Alex.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about who Alex is and her role in the story?
Sure. Yeah. So, Alex, like I said, she's an ex-con, and her mother is an NYPD cop. She's a detective, actually, but they have a really difficult relationship. And she's living in New York. She's Latina, and for me, I'm actually from Brooklyn, and we shot in Brooklyn, so that was really interesting to kind of, yeah, to step into this person who was so vulnerable and in so much pain, but she was very tough and I had to kind of learn about like, putting on this shell. Um, I went through really harrowing things, obviously didn't with the monsters, but then also like with the crime aspect, and then also like the vulnerabilities of being queer. And I think, I don't know, Alex is like a really beautiful, warm spot in my heart. I have a lot of sympathy for her.
I love that.
Yeah.
Um, you two share certain elements of your lives. How much of yourself did you bring into this role?
I would say a lot of myself, but also she pushed me into places that I didn't know I could go. And I think that happens with actors and characters is that normally we get to play characters that are parts of ourselves that we really didn't see coming. And then we get into it. It's like, oh my God, it's like expansive. For me, Alex, like I said, she's a bit of a bruiser. She's a fighter. She's a bit of a dick, which I really love to play characters like that because I'm not so much like that. But she was really fun because in my body, I never felt tough and I never felt strong. So with her, like I get to put on literally like a super suit that they made, and they had 10 of them. It was so cool. Um, and I get to like fight shit. And sorry, I don't know if I can curse, but that was really
Oh,
cool.
perfect.
Cool. Yeah, it made me feel stronger than I've ever felt, and getting to go through that body transformation was really empowering.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Um, do you feel a little bit more like Alex after playing her? Like, have you
definitely.
brought any of her to your life?
Yes. Yes, I've actually been ordering rings online. That's random. She wears a lot of rings. And I've been going to the gym a ton, but also just I feel like stronger in my body. I feel like when I walk into a room, I don't have to take shit and I can just like command myself, which is definitely very Alex.
That's awesome. I love to
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah.
Um, Now you get to work with some pretty awesome people. What was it like working with David and Anna and the rest of the cast?
Yeah, so David, I had never seen Friends before. I was like, what's a friend?
Really?
Yeah, I really didn't like care at all. And that's just who he is. He's really sweet. He's Dave, he's a dad. And yeah, I don't know, when he walked onto set, it was like he just brought this really calming aura about him. And I haven't seen the show, so I was like, that's just really awesome that he's such a gentleman. Anna was amazing. She played my mom, so most of the scenes I had with her if they were not with the other kids. And she's just a firecracker. She cracks me up. She's also so knowledgeable about the industry and being Latina and being here before me and making such a mark on the world. I got to kind of rely on her for advice, and that was really, really invaluable to me. So I love those two people a lot.
That's awesome. What's
Yeah.
like the biggest piece of advice that Anna gave you that you are taking with you?
She told me to stand up for myself in ways that I hadn't. And I think, in Hollywood, we're used to being like the product. And I think as women and as women of color, that can be really hard to deal with because we are societally the product and the object. And Anna kind of told me, no, bitch, like you own that. This is your space. You're the one who makes the money. You get to have a voice and you get to say no. And for me, I love saying no, but sometimes it's really hard when you're in a room with a bunch of people who are telling you who you are and what you can have and what you can be and what you can mean to them and to a whole culture of people. And it's like, oh my God, who am I? But she kind of put her hand on my shoulder and she was like, you get to like say who you are and you get to take your time. And if you don't know who you are yet and you're still figuring it out, like that's okay. So that was amazing. She's amazing.
That's beautiful. I love
Yeah.
that so much. Um, so what is something that you are just absolutely excited for people to see when they watch this season?
I'm so excited to see Latin representation in a horror action lead role. I'm so excited to see so many people of color and people with just different struggles that we don't see. One of our characters has really debilitating anxiety, and she faces that in the form of a monster, which is really fucking cool. And yeah, I mean, for me, representation is so important, and I never got to see girls who looked like me kicking ass on screen. So I'm so excited for that. And also for like the mysteries and the monsters and the thrills. That's gonna be cool.
I love it. Um, Before I let you go, do you have any other projects coming out? Anything that you can talk about?
I can't really talk about them. I'm also a
Right.
screenwriter. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Um,
fun. Screenwriting.
yeah. I'm a screenwriter and a producer, and I have a project that's in the superhero-y Greek god realm, which is really fun. And yeah, I love comic book nerdy stuff, so that's probably where I want to live.
Awesome. Hopefully you'll be able to talk about it soon and we can chat about that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Um, all right. Is there anything else that you want to touch on about Goosebumps?
Um, no, just it comes out January 10th, which is also my birthday, which is really cool. And it's going to be
So
on Disney Plus and Hulu. Very excited.
it's a good birthday present for sure.
It is. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting. I'm looking forward to this season, and I hope to talk to you soon about this superhero Greek god project.
Okay. All right. Have a great one.